Coming up, why top earners are broke. And then the 10 most common jobs that college grads are getting these days. We'll go over the common resume lies as well, and I'm going to coach you up. Let's go. Helping you win at work in life by making more money and more impact. This is the Ken Coleman Show. I'm Ken. Thrilled to have you with us. Let's get into this. This is distressing news, and I got to get right to it. Top earners are completely broke. What? A lot of them are. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. This is data from Investopedia. 59% of adults in the U.S. admit to living paycheck to paycheck. Frankly, if you would have played the guessing game with me, Alex, I would have thought it'd been higher. Almost half have credit card debt and only 38% have an emergency fund. Now, at Ramsey Solutions, we define the emergency fund in two stages, if you will. The first is what we call baby step 1 in the 7 baby steps to financial peace, is an emergency fund of $1,000. This is not a robust emergency fund. It's just rainy day, and we're just going to get it to have some stability in case we've got something that pops up. $1,000 just for an emergency fund, and then as you have to use it, you replenish it. The second stage of the emergency fund is what we call baby step 3, after you've paid off all of your debt in baby step 2. And baby step 3, we're now saving 3 to 6 months. Good grief. 3 to 6 months of expenses. So that's what we call the emergency fund, and that's what that looks like. This is why this is relevant. You think, why $1,000 for the first baby step? Well, because 70% of U.S. households, with an income of $100,000 or more, say they would have trouble coming up with $400. These are people that are making 6 figures, and they're spending it all to where if an expense came up of $400, they don't know where they'd scratch and claw to get it. This is troubling. You think about that. Say you have a $650 car issue. You make $100,000 and you can't come up with the $650 out of your cash, out of your emergency fund, or just your budget. How stressful that is. That affects us in our professional abilities when we're that freaked out all the time. How in the world are we going to be maxing out our potential if we've got that kind of stress hanging over us all the time? I'm exhausted thinking about that. CNBC data of those earning $250,000 or more, 36% said they live paycheck to paycheck, meaning they're not saving any money at all. This is all going, and we hope we make it to the next paycheck before we need additional money. Now, inflation is contributing to a financial squeeze, but you cannot blame inflation and not change your behavior. You can blame inflation for having to change your behavior, sure, but you got to change your behavior. So I want to come up with what I think is just a simple 3-step process for going, okay, if I'm in this boat, and I really want you, if you're in this boat, to go to RamseySolutions.com, click on Financial Peace University, and get involved. And this has worked for millions and millions of people. We'll walk you through a much more detailed version of what I'm going to lay out. But I think there's 3 basic actions you've got to take if you're in this boat. High earner, high income, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have no margin. What do? First thing is downsize your consumption. Now that I wrote it that way, it feels a little fancy. But what that means is slow your spending. Reduce your spending. Reduce it. Downsize consumption. Hey, we're not going to do all the things that we've been doing because it's led us to this situation where we're making really good money and we don't have any money. So you got to get your spending under control is the first action. The second action is begin after you get your spending under control. So this is a budget, and we're paying attention to what we're doing. Now we've got to eliminate our debt. We got to start to work on the debt, because if I can pay off a debt in 2 or 3 months, let's say it's a credit card of $3,000 or $4,000. If I were to actually budget and stop spending like I'm in Congress, and I pay off the credit card, let's say that my minimum payment on the credit card is $400. Well, we just found $400 a month. Okay, you keep playing that out, and if you can free up $2,000 to $3,000 or $4,000 a month in your budget that you've been paying towards debt, now we've got margin. We've got margin to actually be able to save. Imagine, just for a moment, for those of you that are new to Ramsey Solutions, imagine you take all of your monthly payments that are going towards debt. Now imagine taking that number and putting it in savings every month. Imagine that. Hey, let's go a step further. Let's say you got your 3 to 6 month emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your expenses in the bank, and we take that number that you had been paying towards debt and savings, and now what if we invest that? Woo! I mean, this is a function of perspective. So what's driving you? What's at the source of all the spending? What's going on there? Got to look at that. And then the third action is save for today and tomorrow. So first action, downsize your consumption. 2, eliminate your debt. 3, save for today and tomorrow. And again, you know, the Ramsey Solutions baby steps, 7 of them. Baby step 1, put $1,000 in the bank. You got to sell something, do whatever you got to do, get $1,000. Baby step 2, begin to attack your debt, smallest debt to largest debt. Why? We want to pay off the smallest debt because it's the one we can pay off the quickest, and now we have some momentum. We immediately take the payment we've been making on the small debt, and we roll it into the second, right? The second debt that's up the ladder. So we're going smallest to largest. So now we go to the next debt on the list. Do the same thing. Repeat. You got a lot of momentum, and you get to baby step 3, where you're saving up 3 to 6 months of your expenses. Baby step 4 is to begin to invest 15% of your income in retirement. Baby step 5 is to fund the kids' college, if that is relevant to you. Baby step 6 is to pay off the house. Baby step 7 is to live and give generously. To live like no one else. Okay? So those are the baby steps, and it is doable. RamseySolutions.com. Financial Peace University is an absolute must to be able to get this ingrained in your system and begin to live this out. And then Every Dollar, the budgeting app, is a way to actually be able to see where your money's going. You can do it on your phone, computer. It's always with you. It's an amazing tool, the best budgeting app in the world. Now, what's the reason for all of this? Why am I spending time on this? To help big-time earners get control? Imagine if you can breathe. Imagine going to work and not being stressed out over money, but you're totally focused on winning. What could that do in your professional life? Imagine not coming home with stress and having money fights all the time. What could that do in your relationships? It's just not, we call it Financial Peace University because it's not just financial peace. It becomes professional peace. It becomes personal peace. The financial peace leads to all of this. But if you're stressed out all the time about money, you're going to act like a jerk in the office. You're going to ask for a promotion you don't deserve. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're going to take risks that you shouldn't take. RamseySolutions.com. Get your finances in order and watch things improve. Well, have you ever had a moment when you discovered something new and it changes your complete context and outlook on the future? Yeah, I don't know what it was for you, but for many of you, it could be your work, a new job, a new ladder, a new path that can make you more money than you've ever made before and begin to fulfill a lot of those dreams that need a bigger shovel, more moolah. And then just think about what that can do in your personal life as well. ZipRecruiter is the place you need to go. If you're thinking about kicking the tires, seeing what's out there, we got 11.3 million jobs available, and a new job may be exactly what you needed for your mental health, for your physical health, for your financial health. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. It takes just minutes to fill out a profile. They are recruiting for you and pitching you to companies that pay them for access to you. So you don't pay anything. And you can live your life and do your life, and they're out there pitching to you, and they're going to send companies directly to you who raise their hands going, we like what we see. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. ZipRecruiter.com/Ken. All right. So here we are in the middle of a summer, and we're always reminded that we got kids that are out there searching. They've been to school, and now here they are trying to find that first job to get started in the real world. Now, I want to point out that we've shared this data on the show before, but there are so many of these kids. I mean, the numbers are striking. Who have an outsized perception of what they're worth. I share stuff like this because I want you and parents and you young people out there that are out there looking to know what the landscape actually looks like, because it's changed dramatically. So I want to break this down, okay? So these are the 10 most common industries that new grads get jobs in, okay? And we'll give you an idea of what they pay. Now, a reminder, we've got about 4 million plus college students graduate every year. And we also have 11.3 million jobs. This is the end of May. We saw this data, and June data will be the same. We begin right in that range because we saw an increase in jobs. We didn't see a decrease in jobs added. So let's just call it 11 plus million jobs, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, are open right now. My friends at ZipRecruiter looked at some of the industries with the highest share of first-time hires. This is in their report, The Job Market Outlook for Grads. So here we go. Here are their top 10 industries. That includes first-time hires of college grads. This is the food and beverage industry. 17% of their employees are first-time college hires. The restaurant manager salary, this is a median, is $48,000. Retail is next. A retail store manager salary, $50,000. And their share of first-time hires is 12%. Now, it drops into single digits after this. Third is advertising and marketing. An account executive can make $51,000, or that's the median, $51,000. Automotive tech salary, $54,000. Now, this is interesting because we dropped way down in the single digits here as it relates to the share of first-time hires from college is 5%. And so if I want to go into the automotive tech space, I'm not going to college, Alex. I'm not doing it. You're going to go to college for 4 years and take out student loans, is what most people do. And you're going to start at $54,000? Parents, look, if I got a kid who loves turning a wrench and loves cars and wants to maybe grow, I'd get them right out of college. I mean, out of high school. I mean, if they're mature enough and they can handle themselves personally, I don't know why a garage wouldn't hire them. And if they can make anywhere close to $54,000, you do that from the age of 18 or 19 to 23. And let's presume they have no debt, right? They're coming right out of high school and they're investing their money. Wow, they're off and running. And maybe they move up within the industry. Maybe they become a manager of a garage. They're making more money. Maybe they become a high-end mechanic, start their own business. All right, next, education. Obviously, because the education industry is shedding teachers at an alarming rate. So they're reloading, and that's why they're hiring right out of college. And then we got healthcare, business support and logistics, entertainment, finance, construction, rounding out the top 10. So here's the big takeaway. When it comes to these first jobs out of college, the entry level almost always had some lower version of work required, so some type of experience. But on-the-job training is the big trend right now. So that's why I share that list. You don't have to have all this training. You can get right in. The entry level is what has changed. That's the point that I want to make sure that you are aware of. Okay, next. Funny story off of Monster.com. I say funny because I shake my head in almost disbelief when I read things like this. The biggest resume lies to avoid. Monster did a study. It's called The Future of Work 2021, and they found that 66% of employers agree that candidates exaggerate skills and competencies on their resumes. And I like that the article leads with what this is at the headline. I mean, it's not an exaggeration, it's a lie. And this can come back and hurt you. Checkster did a survey of hiring managers and recruiters and found that 78% of applicants stretch the truth about themselves. I mean, that's crazy. 78%. Now, this is a fun breakdown. These are job applicants, okay? This is according to HR managers and recruiters. 60% of candidates said they had a mastery in skills that they only had a basic knowledge of. Oh! Now, what kind of Russian roulette is that? How are you going to do that number? Well, I've mastered this machine. Great. Then they stick you in there and they think because you mastered, they go, oh yeah, this is the BU 1793 and this was manufactured. Are you familiar with this machine? You just start the buttons over here and they think you mastered it, and then they leave you alone and you're staring at this thing and you have no idea what to do with it. 50% said they worked on some jobs longer in order to omit an employer. So this one kills me. You think they're not going to follow up on this and look at your employment history? And then they go, oh, I see that they worked for you from 2005 to 2011. And then they go, no, they worked with us from 2009 to 2011. So now you're a liar. No credibility, gone. Boom. 45% gave a false reason for leaving a job. Oh my gosh. 42% made up relevant experiences. Made it up. 41% used a director title when the actual title was a manager. 39% claimed they had a degree from a prestigious university instead of the one they went to. That's literally like me going, yeah, I've got a degree from Harvard. I don't. Now, here's the deal. So these are the three most common lies: education, date, how long you worked at a place, and stretching your skills. How do they find out? Well, they're going to give you assessments on certain jobs that you say you've got the skill. They'll give you an assessment. Then you get caught red-handed. Then number two, they'll do background checks, and then they look at your social media. I'll never forget this story. There's a guy by the name of George O'Leary who was the football coach at Georgia Tech. This was when I was living in Atlanta. And Joe remembers this story, but it was a national story, but it was a big deal in Atlanta, Alex. And I know you don't care about football, so so I'm going to tell you what happened, but it's pretty amazing. So he's Georgia Tech, Division I football program, okay? He gets hired at Notre Dame. Notre Dame! We're talking top 5 football program, illustrious program. He lied about his degree. A month later, after they found out, the media exposed it, they fired him from his dream football job for lying about that. Top psychologist says IQ is the number one predictor of work success. Then there's a dash, especially combined with these 5 traits. So I'm going to break this down. Because first and foremost, I don't think that IQ is the number one predictor of work success. I'm just curious. Anybody in the control room know your IQ? Nobody? Nobody knows it? Yeah, me either. I don't know what my IQ is. 3 numbers? I couldn't tell you. Oh, you're saying you've gotten to the point where you've got 3 numbers. You just don't know what the 3 are. Because there are people who have IQs in like the 50s and 60s, and that's pretty low, I think. As a matter of fact, this will be fun. Let's just look this up because not only do I not know my IQ, I could care less what it is. But let's just look this up. I'm going to go on the Google, as I like to tell my kids, and I'm going to type in what is considered a low IQ. Survey says the vast majority of people in the United States have an IQ between 80 and 120, with an IQ of 100 considered to be average. To be diagnosed as having mental retardation, a person must have an IQ below 70. if a person scores below 70 on a properly administered and scored IQ. So there you go. Okay. So, Alex, I see what you did there. I would say you have a high IQ. I would say you're over 100. I, honest to God, don't know what I am, and I would not assume that I have an IQ because the kind of stuff that it tests. Now, I don't know if I'm wrong about this, but if it's testing like scientific and math abilities in the brain, I'm not going to get 100. Not even going to sniff it. I got nothing happening on that side of my brain. And by the way, this is my non-scientific approach, and I disagree with the psychologist. However, he has a caveat, and I actually think because of his caveat, he's wrong, but at least he's trying to be right. Let me break it down. Who is this guy? His name is John Antonakis. He is a psychologist and professor of organizational behavior at Switzerland University. And he focuses on leadership and management research. And he says, this is a direct quote, IQ is the single most important predictor of work success. It's a very robust and very reliable predictor. In 2012, Vanderbilt University, right here in our backyard, their psychology researchers found that people with higher IQs tend to earn higher incomes on average than those with lower IQs. Now, let me just say, I completely agree with that finding, but I think we have two different things here. One, he's going, IQ is the single most predictor of work success. And then the Vanderbilt research is going, well, those with higher IQs tend to have higher incomes than those with lower IQs. Well, this is not like, come on, really? Of course. If someone has a low IQ to the point of mental retardation, well, of course, their earning ability is limited. And if they're not considered some type of mental challenges there in that area, they still are limited in their ability to do some of the higher income producing jobs like, let's just call it doctor, scientist, whatever. Okay, so I don't dispute that. So then Antonakis goes on to say, high IQs are predictors for success in highly complicated, skilled occupations like physicist, engineer, or neurosurgeon. But, he says, you could still be highly successful without being a Mensa member. Whew, boy, I feel better about myself now. So then he goes on to say there's 5 other skills and traits that factor in your career success. So let me just go through these really quick, and I'm going to pull this all together for you. Ability to be outgoing and friendly. Can I just tell you, I'm teaching that. The grade 8 is what it's called, Alex. I'm teaching a soft skills course for Ramsey Academy. I've been talking about it on the show. And I've got 8 that I've selected that I believe are difference makers in allowing you to win, and they're soft skills, people skills. So the ability to be outgoing and friendly. Can I just tell you what that is? It's called being likable. Another one, self-confidence. Being open to new experiences. Organizational ability, strong communication skills. All right, let's go through the list. I think this is an incomplete list. He just threw it out there. So you got this really smart psychologist who likes to make a big statement, and it's based on data. However, if you don't sift through things like this, you go, wait a second. Having a high IQ means I have high potential. There's no question about that. High IQ, high potential. Okay? But when we throw these other things in here, like, okay, well, we got the ability to be likable and then self-confident. Well, let me just tell you something right now. I know a lot of people with high IQ that can't even get out of the room, can't even get out of their bed. They overthink, overanalyze everything. Where does confidence come from? Does IQ have anything to do with confidence? Of course it doesn't. What gives us confidence? It's clarity. I know who I am. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. I know where I want to do it. That's a confident person. Being open to new experiences? That's a not very good way of saying being adaptable, maybe? Being able to handle change? Now that is a success factor. If you can have the attitude to be able to handle change, which is the unknown, and adapt, so adaptability, yeah, I'll give them that. Organizational abilities, sure. I know a lot of successful people that can't find their keys. Strong communication skills, ding, ding, ding. Yes, the ability to communicate well. Doesn't mean you got to be a great public speaker. Doesn't mean you have to be able to write books. The ability to listen to people, read people, and communicate clearly. Doesn't mean you have to be flowery and have 50-cent words. You don't have to do that. So likability and personality and connectability to humans, to me, the single greatest predictor of success is the ability to win with people. I don't think it's IQ. I disagree with the esteemed professor. He's a lot smarter than I am. I guarantee you, Alex, his IQ is higher than mine. But I respectfully disagree. I think the number one predictor of success in any area of life, not just professional success, is the ability to win with people. Because let me explain this. Take your high IQ physicist. They get in. They're doing groundbreaking work, awesome work, brilliant people. Show me side by side the brilliant IQ physicist who has no ability to win with people, no people skills, and put them next to the physicist who has people skills. They are equally smart. Their IQs are probably right around the same thing. What is the one difference between the one that grows and wins in their field and goes to absolute true potential outside of the physicist who can't talk to a person but creates the formula for cold fusion? What's going to win every time is the physicist, the brilliant IQ, who has great people skills, who can win with people. That's the difference maker. So, what say you? Agree? Disagree? You can jump in the comments if you want. You can email me. I think winning with people. So what does this come down to? Parents, I'm okay with all of the nice education and all the academic stuff you want to put your kids through and all that. But if you aren't teaching your kids how to win with people, you are limiting their potential. I mean, my dad taught me early on, look people in the eye, shake their hand. When I was 5 years old, Alex, he was making me shake other people's hands. Adults would say hi to me, and I was doing this number, sticking my little greasy, sticky hand out there and making people shake my hand because my dad said, look people in the eye, shake their hand. To this day, I shake people's hands, and most of the time it's women. They go, wow, that's a firm handshake. My dad also told me, squeeze their hand. Why? Back then it mattered more, but my dad was teaching me something that allowed me to win with people. A good first impression. Look them in the eye. Smile. Be interested in other people. Ask them questions about themselves. Win with people. You win with people, you win, period. No academic degree or score on the IQ test guarantees anything other than people being impressed. But that wears off. There's a difference between impressing people and people liking you. Nicole joins us for a little coaching session. She's joining us in Madison, Wisconsin, the home of the Wisconsin Badgers, one of my Michigan Wolverine rivalries there. See, I'm one-track mind. One-track mind, football is close. Nicole, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for taking my call.
You bet. What's up?
So I had an interview in about 30 minutes, and I'm still struggling with how to best answer the first tell me about yourself question.
Oh, okay.
Traditionally, I have gone in chronological order, starting with graduating college and different careers, but most of my accomplishments have been in the past few years, and I feel like by the time I get around to them, the interviewers tuned out and they're not getting the attention that they need. Mm-hmm. So what would be the best way to answer this question?
What is your family background? Where's your family origin, and where have you spent most of your life? Tell me about your family real quick.
I grew up in Illinois, and then I went to college in Wisconsin, and I've been living in Wisconsin ever since.
Oh, okay, great. And why did you choose Wisconsin?
My mom was from Wisconsin, and it was somewhat close to home, about an hour and a half away. Far enough away from mom and dad, but close enough to feel connected. Okay,
got it. All right. So that tells me one thing I wanted you to start with, which is, your big relationship. You love your family. I would want to lead with a value, something that's very valuable to you right out of the gate, so they learn a bit of something about you without telling you your history. So, I'd lead with, I'm a big family person. love my family and my friends. Just that really matters to me because that's something I heard immediately about you. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then why are you wanting this job? What's the work and why do you want it?
I am a nurse and I currently work directly with patients, but I have taken on a lot of project-based assignments in my role, and I'm looking to move into something that's doing projects exclusively, which is what this role would be.
And why is doing more projects attractive to you?
I like having a lot of responsibility, and I like being able to switch between different projects throughout the day.
Yeah, and you kind of discovered this along the way. It wasn't initially your intent in becoming a nurse. You didn't see that side of it, I'm guessing?
Right.
Yeah, and how does getting a project completed well, how does it make you feel?
It makes me feel great. I like when I'm able to do a project that helps other people understand things better or do well in their job.
Mm-hmm. So there's a big people component popping up again here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So you see where I'm leading you? I want you, when they say, tell me about yourself, just do something real quick personal from a value standpoint, right? You don't have to go that direction of the family piece. I was just setting you up for you to hear about yourself, and then you just kind of combine it, and you don't tell your life story. You just give them an overview. So this would be the formula: personal, professional, and passion. Those would be the three little elements. So for instance, something very quickly personal about you. It doesn't have to be that family factor. It could be that you love climbing mountains on the weekends, or you love, you know what I mean? Like just something unique about you so they remember you. Do you have some hobby that you're super passionate about?
I guess I love to travel. Okay,
great. Say that. So, hey, a big family person. I love my family, and I really enjoy traveling. I love seeing new things, and that's partly why I'm here. You know, I got into nursing, and I realized I got some opportunities to lead some projects. It was kind of a little bit outside the traditional nursing route, and I found out that I loved it because I love new things, and projects are new challenges, and I also love people. And this role allows me to do two things that I really love personally and professionally: people and newness. I love taking on the new project, the new challenge, and I just get really passionate about connecting people and a process to make progress. That's pretty good right there. So that's the kind of thing you say, okay? Make it your own.
That's great.
Make it your own. But I'm going to let you go. I want you to write down your own outline, 2 or 3 things and just put a quick outline in your mind. They ask me, tell me about myself. I'm going to cover these 3 things and just let her rip. And you're going to do great. 844-747-2577, 844-747-2577. If you want to jump in, that phone number will work. We're here at 12 Central, 1 Eastern, Monday through Friday. And then also you can email us, ask@kencoleman.com, if you want to get a little on-air live coaching session. Kristen is up next in Ogden, Utah. Kristen, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hey, Ken, how's it going?
I am living the dream, Kristen. What's going on with you?
Yeah, so I'm 26. I just graduated from college, started my first full-time job.
All right.
And
Very nice. Hold on a second. Let's not just go past. Yeah, so what's the new job?
So I'm a marketing and communication coordinator at a company.
Okay,
and
great.
I love what I do.
Okay.
It took me a while to get through school because I found that I wasn't passionate about the things I was studying and switched my major. So
good.
I'm excited to be done and ready to be in this role.
Okay.
But the challenge is I'm feeling stuck, and I'm regretting the company that I chose because it's not a great fit for me, and it's not helping me progress. The long story short is the 8 positions in the marketing team have been eliminated over 2 years, and now I'm the single person in the marketing team.
Wow.
And there's no one to really help navigate me through the growing process.
How long have you been there?
Barrier. 4 months.
So you've been there 4 months. And over the last 2 years, they've removed 8 people, taking it all the way down to just you. You're the new hire.
Yeah.
And you're the only person in the marketing department?
Yeah.
Who's your leader? Who's your direct report?
So our direct report is another senior, manager of the product team.
Okay. So but they don't have marketing background. That's not their trade.
Right.
Wow.
And so I'm feeling it's hard to connect, especially with them. They're a great leader, but they have a language barrier. So they understand probably about 50% of the things I say to them anyway.
Oh,
and
yeah, right.
I just am feeling really stuck, and I don't know what to do. I wanted to be supported and, have a mentor at this company. And
well, let me ask you this. What is the reason for all the cutbacks?
They had a leadership change. It was during COVID. And so I think they're still kind of operating out of a scarcity, mindset right now.
Are they struggling financially?
No. And there's also been personality differences with the leadership. So.
But you're telling me you love the job, and you told me that that your leader's a good leader. So where are you stuck?
She's a great person.
Oh, okay. Now that's different. She's a great person. She's not a great leader.
Yeah. She's inexperienced in her own roles, and, having to manage my jobs with hers are very overwhelming for her.
And let me ask you this. Are the challenges you're facing because you're brand new? I mean, you're brand new and you don't have much experience, and you don't have a senior marketing professional above you that could answer your questions, that could guide you. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah.
Well, I think.
And I know the silver bullet is experience, but how do I get from where I am to experience? Because even if I left the company, I don't have anything to add to my resume.
Well, I don't think you leave right now.
Right.
I think you're going to have to suck it up. And I know that doesn't sound, it sounds worse than it is. So let me explain what I mean by suck it up. Okay. On one hand, you don't have the leadership and the training and the mentoring that you actually need to functionally do the best that you can do, but they know that. Sounds like to me, they know that. Your boss knows that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so where would you go? Or rather, where could you go if you needed a question answered that she doesn't have the experience and background to answer it? Where could you go? Let's put it as could you? Let's just say she didn't exist and you still needed that paycheck and you had nobody to go to, because let's frankly, she doesn't exist when it comes to some, more experienced, detailed type questions around your job in marketing. So who could you go to right now? Who could you call to get a piece of advice on what you're doing?
That's the challenge I'm facing. Is I have Google, and it's great for some things.
No,
others,
not Google. Who could you call? I'm not saying an exact person, but fill in the blank with what you can answer. Who would be the type of person that you would call?
I have a distant family member that does similar things, and I've gone to him. And
how's that turned out?
It's okay. I don't have the ability to make the decisions and changes that he would recommend, so I can't implement a lot of the advice.
Well, have you taken his advice up to your leader?
Yes.
And she said?
My activities would not be approved.
Okay. So she said, can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it or won't do it?
I think it's a can't do it.
Okay. So my point is you need to get another set of eyeballs, maybe 2 or 3 set of eyeballs, because I'm asking more from a standpoint of functional day-to-day work. Isn't that where you're feeling stuck? You're like, is this the right strategy? Is this the right thing? You understand what I'm saying? And you're looking for feedback to go, is this the right move or is there a better move? Is that what most of the stuckness is coming from?
Yes.
I would be finding somebody in Ogden, Utah, somebody you can have coffee with, begin to develop a relationship and go, hey, I want to stay where I am right now because I can get really valuable experience, but I'm also trying to win. My point is, by suck it up, you do the best that you can possibly do. You've been hired right out of college to do a job, and you are naturally handcuffed, if you will. There's only so much you can do based on the fact that they probably don't have the resources to be able to do it. So now you've got to do the scrappy version of marketing. So what can you do that doesn't require a bunch of approvals or changes or systemic things that they're not going to support you with? So the day in, day out job, what can you do? How can you get better at doing that? What's the most excellent, efficient way to get better at doing that, absent of somebody that knows your craft looking over your shoulder every day. You're going to have to rely on people outside that will mentor you and be a friend to you, a professional friend to help you. Because if you quit, it's like starting all over again. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's a viable option. If you were to find a good company that had a good structure and leadership above you, and you said, hey, here's why I'm leaving. They hired me in, and I'm now the last person standing. They let go 8 people, and my current report doesn't even know marketing. And so I'm limited in my ability to actually do the job. I think that's an understandable thing without throwing somebody under the bus. The other side of things is to stick it out for 6 more months and get a year in there, get some good experience, learn how to adapt to the situation. Do you believe that you can adapt if you get that friend or 2 or 3?
Yeah, I know I can do it. It's just, I don't
not
know where
ideal.
to start.
Well,
yeah.
But my point is, you don't have to have the pressure on where to start. You need to start getting your connections working for you, friend of a friend, whatever, and get with some people who are good marketers who do what you do and tell them your situation and go, what would you do if you were me? This is good old-fashioned wisdom. It's not just knowledge. You need some wisdom in your life from somebody who knows. You're telling me there aren't some ninja women out there who are in your job and they're higher up the ladder than you. They couldn't give you advice. They wouldn't go, Kristen, I'm going to take you under my wing and I'm going to help you. You tell me you can't find those women?
I'm just not sure where to look.
Yes, you do. You know where to look. Where are the other marketing positions in Ogden? Who do you know outside of Ogden? Who do you know from your college program that knows somebody up the ladder? Call your professors. Tell your professors what you're looking for. You know where to look. You're just intimidated.
Yeah, I guess I kind of just feel like I don't really belong quite yet, so that's hard.
I know, but listen, kiddo, now I'm going to be your dad for a second, all right? Listen to me. You don't feel like you belong because you haven't been pulled into a true community, and that's normal, but that's not your fault. That's theirs. There is no team. You're the team. Of course you don't feel like you belong, but listen to me, kiddo. It's not a function of talent. You've got the chops. You belong in the world you want to be in. You don't feel like you belong because there's no community in that office around you. There's a big difference. You got me? Get your head up, eyes forward, and go make some connections. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.
Thanks for listening to the Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.